Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is my co-host, Troy Brittingham.
And you are Jeff.
I am Jeff. Troy, we watched episodes 3 and 4 of Star Wars The Acolyte.
Trace and Quattro.
Trace and Quattro.
TB&J! TB&J!
Troy, first things first, thumbs up or thumbs down on episodes 3 and 4 of Star Wars The Acolyte?
3 and 4 together?
Yeah, we can do them together.
I think I kind of.
We did the first two together.
Yeah.
Didn't the first two drop together?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we didn't do them together.
Listen, we're adults doing a podcast in our spare time. We don't always have time to do the fucking thing at the same time every single week.
Yeah.
Even though that's the best way to grow a podcast is to be reliable. And that's like the one thing we aren't because we suck.
I'm going to go thumbs down on them collectively, though.
I'm also thumbs down. That's so funny that we're the same way.
I think there's stuff in them mostly in 4 and not 3.
Yeah, 3. Let's talk about 3 separately at first. So 3 is the episode we get kind of the backstory of Osha and May, our two kind of protags-ish of the show so far. Twin sisters, turns out created with just straight up black magic, kind of through the Force. Mm-hmm. This leader of a witch coven that are kind of Dathomiri-ish.
Kind of.
I think that's just. I don't know if I'm being like Star Wars racist, but every time I see like witches that can use the Force, I always just say like, oh, they're. I mean,
there's also Zabarak 2, which is the Darth Maul species,
right? Which is what their birth mother is, like the woman who carried them. That's what she looks like. Is kind of Darth Maul-y with all the horns coming out of the top of her head. Yeah. But like I that whole episode did almost nothing for me at all.
No, it's all child acting and no hate to these two kids, but it is definitely child acting.
It is child acting. The writing is very kind of like ham-fisted and clumsy.
Right.
There's a ceremony that the girls are supposed to go through. I guess they're approaching like an age of puberty or maturity where they're supposed to ascend and become full-fledged witches and learn how to use their powers a little bit better. Powers in big quotes. They're Force sensitive. They're using the Force. And during the like pre-ceremony announcements by the leader, who they refer to as Mama, there's like some random witch cackling going on.
Yeah, no, the
like
chanting
straight
is
up
weird.
Cartoony witch cackling and cartoony witch cackling. Like we get it, you're witches, but like, could you be cooler? Could you
we already
be a little
have
less like Snoopy.
We already have Star Wars witches, and they don't do this, and they're cool.
Yeah, like look at Merrin. Like, she's a witch, and she's fucking awesome.
I love Merrin.
Merrin's everyone's favorite character from the Fallen Order games.
Merrin is my Star Wars wife. I've said that before.
I've also said that. I would leave my wife for Merrin.
Back off.
I'm sorry, what?
I said back off.
No, fuck you, man.
I'll kill you.
Jesus Christ. All right, I guess this is the last TB&J podcast.
Yeah, as we fight over a fictional Star Wars video game character.
Yeah, that we're both just simping so hard for. No, not at all. But yeah, Merrin is fucking awesome. They've done witches really well
Asajj
before.
Ventress.
Asajj Ventress, there you go.
Mother Towson.
They have the ability to do it. They just didn't in this instance. I don't know why, but it really kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, I mean, they wanted to do like this is a different culture of them, and once again, this show I like in concept a lot more than I like watching it. I like the idea of there being sort of because like the Night Sisters in Star Wars are just sort of like, yeah, they're bad witches on a bad planet that's bad. And then you have like Asajj and Merrin who are like, actually, we're not that bad. This seems like a planet where it's like, yeah, we do things a little bit differently. Maybe there's stuff that some people would consider dark side stuff, but it's like it's basically our religion versus Jedi religion.
Exactly, and that's all I kind of took it for, especially in the beginning of fucking like the way they presented everything was just like, we are witches, we're using our powers, we had to flee because we were persecuted because, there are people that wanted to tell us how to use our powers, and we didn't like that.
I like
Which on the surface is great.
Sure.
If you dig a little deeper, maybe, and none of this was in the show, this is me speculating, it's like, well, what were you doing? Were you creating abominations? Were you murdering people? Like, why did people tell you that you couldn't use your power a certain way? Why did you have to exile yourselves on this weird planet in the middle of seemingly nowhere, where you feel like, where the Jedi thought they could get away with the lie of, we thought the planet was uninhabited. Like, clearly you think you can only get away with that lie if it's in the middle of nowhere, right? Like, way out of the rim. And then the mother character, she even says, like, we're not in the Republic's jurisdiction. So, like, they must be really out there.
Yeah.
But there's also a lush green planet? I don't know. I mean, Star Wars has never really followed, like, real
Sure.
planets.
I mean, you can argue most of the planets are middle of nowhere planets.
Yeah, I suppose you really couldn't you?
There's like Naboo and there's Coruscant, and, like, that's it. Everything else is sort of like a big desert or a big forest or a big ice planet
Or a big ocean that
or
rains all the time.
another big desert
Yeah,
or another big forest.
I mean, there's only so many places you can go in the world to film.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm just being a dick about it. But no, I appreciated that they were trying to build the world, but I feel like most of the girl's backstory was already explained to us enough that, like, unless there was some big twist or reveal in the backstory that
this didn't add
the girls didn't remember, that it would have added something. The only thing this added was that Osha felt different from May, different enough that she wanted her own life and her own path, even though her witch elders were, like, trying to force her to stay with May and be this kind of, like, power twin couple. But Osha was like, no, I want my own life. Like, that's all we learned from that. And we could get that from Osha just, like, talking to Yord or talking to Soul. We could have gotten that from anything.
This kind of felt like the episode where it was like, if you didn't explain our kind of already a little obvious storytelling, we're gonna really kind of lay the path for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the longest episode of these two. That was a 43-minute episode. I think it's like the second longest in the series so far. And
I think it's the longest so far out of the four.
I think the premiere was 45 or 47.
Okay, all right, I believe you.
But this one was 43. Like, why are you spending this much time to tell us stuff that we pretty much already knew? You're not really giving us much else other than, they were already Force sensitive because they grew up with a bunch of witches. And, we learned that they were created using black magic. And that's kind of it. I mean, I have a theory that after May started the fire, Soul and the other Jedi seemingly ran in to save the children. And it looks like a lot of the witches died, but, like, in the same room, and there wasn't really, like, debris from the fire, and it hadn't really spread to that area of the room yet. So I'm wondering if they put a little crumb there of, like, oh, the Jedi murdered that coven. Like, that might be one of the reasons why May wanted to kill Soul and Torben.
Right,
and
that fire wasn't
Carrie
big
Ann
enough
Moss's
again.
character, Ingram, I think, or something like that. Or Nara.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, okay, so they murdered your family. Okay, cool. I get it. But, maybe not. Maybe it really was the fire. It's left very ambiguous, and it felt like a waste of my time if you're going to tell me almost nothing about this backstory, other than telling me what we kind of already knew in 2 episodes. So that didn't really sit well with me. Another thing I didn't like was that, and I know that if you bring up continuity in Star Wars, you're already losing the fight. All right? And I'm very much on the side of, tell the story that makes the most sense in the moment and have fun with it. Try not to let yourself get bogged down by pre-existing rules. That said, kind of the whole thing in the prequel trilogy was that you couldn't take on Anakin as a Padawan because he was too old for the trials. And that led to Qui-Gon trying to do his own thing, and then Obi-Wan takes him on. There's all this, like, prejudice against training him in the prequels. It gives him this weird chip on his shoulder. I think it helps him develop this sort of, like, I need to prove myself ego, which helps him become susceptible to Sidious in the third movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then May and Osha are just like, oh, come back to our ship and tell us what you see on the screen. Like, what? Why are you testing them, taking them back, when they are probably around 9 or older, which is, Anakin was 9 in Phantom Menace, but he was too old for the trials. Like, unless this is why that age limit
I was
exists
gonna
in the
say
future,
like it's a thing that they could you could
but it's
easily
only 100
explain
years.
around. Sure.
Which is not a lot of time at all. Not in the world, not in Star Wars. 100 years is nothing. Especially since fucking Ki-Adi-Mundi's walking around in Episode 4.
Sure.
And he's still alive and well as a Jedi Knight on the Council, or Jedi Master, I guess, on the Council in Episodes 2 and 3. Fucking, I don't understand that rule. And I know, again, continuity, Star Wars, name a more iconic duo that fuck each other. But, It still rubbed me a little weird.
No, I'm in the same camp as you. I just think that it's like a thing that's like if you wanted to, you could explain this and I'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's fine. At the end of the day, it's fine. It's fine. It's just a show. We're just having fun with it. Troy, did you like a lot of stuff?
In Episode 3. Honestly, not really.
No.
There's not really a whole lot for me to latch onto and enjoy that much out of this one. It's sort of another thing that I didn't like is when they're talking about Osha joining the Jedi or leaving and doing the test and everything.
Yeah.
Basically, they go through a whole thing back and forth of just like they have a literal line in there where they're like, the Jedi are bad, and she goes, no, the Jedi are good. And then they're like you have to lie to them, and she goes, no, lying is wrong. And they go, oh, but it's more complicated. And I'm just like, this is like, and I understand that the big complaint everybody has where they're like, Star Wars isn't for kids. Get over it.
It is.
You're not. Yeah, you're not. It's a lot of it, if not most of it, if not all of it is.
I would argue all of Star Wars is for kids, except for the book about the zombie troopers, and then the Dark Forces video game series, and then the Jedi Fallen Order video game series.
Yeah, I mean,
everything else is almost exclusively made for at least teenagers and younger.
Yeah, I think Andor would also be boring for kids, but you also have you have sworn an oath to never watch it.
Yeah,
but I don't know. This is like kindergarten lessons though, where I'm like, okay, we can bump it up.
Also,
a little bit.
like, as far as I know, the girls have no knowledge of the Jedi, right? Like, why would the witch be teaching them about the Jedi?
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, oh, but no, the Jedi are good. How do you know that, kid? What proof do you have?
I don't know. The one Korean man seemed very nice.
The nice Korean man who let you hold his lightsaber for a second. I find it crazy that, like, she just states the Jedi are good and lying is bad, and it's just like, come on, kid. Like, how the fuck do you know that anything about the Jedi? You've told us nothing in this whole witch coven that they would even know what they are. Because they have a very sheltered life. The girls are not allowed to leave the walls of the fortress.
And again, I like the idea of a lot of it. I like the idea of there being twins and one wants to be a witch and one wants to be a Jedi. I like the idea that there's this group that have basically a different religion of the Force that call the Force a different thing. Like, I like...
Sure.
I like the concepts a lot, and Episode 3 especially, I did not like the execution of any of it.
No. The only part that I enjoyed out of that was when Osha wakes up on the ship as they're heading back to Coruscant, and Sol comforts her, and they're both having like an emotional moment, and you can see like a fucking tear fall off Sol's face. Like, he's fucking great at doing sad scenes.
There's a scene where their mother is coming to terms with Osha leaving too, and they're having a whole conversation, and she has like an actual real tear cry at like wipe away.
Yeah, they're good at sadness.
Yeah,
in that episode,
I think everybody is acting fine. Like I said, I think the children acting is children acting. I'm not coming after the kids, but there is a lot of my issue is the episode 3, I literally thought was going to be a little bit of flashback stuff back and forth. And then when it was all flashback and it was all child actor talking, I was like, when we got to episode 4, I was like, oh, this feels different.
Yeah. And then you get to episode 4, and I'm like, oh, this is a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Everything is completely changed. Osha's trying to just dip out in peace and not confront May. And then Soul's like, no, you need to come with me because I need to get May to safety so that we can learn who her master is. And you're the only way I think she would come quietly. And he's kind of manipulating Osha maybe a little bit. But that's okay, I guess. Maybe. He says that it's to like help her confront her past. And then there's this moment that she has with Yord, because apparently they grew up a little bit together. And he's like, May has always been your wound. You need to heal. You need to confront it. You need to do this other bullshit Jedi stuff. And it's like, okay, I get it. You want her to like confront May, and it'll be a thing, and maybe that'll happen. And then May just has this weird heel turn, and she's like, no, actually, I'm going to surrender and turn myself into the Jedi because my sister's alive. And yeah, fuck this mission. Fuck the bad guy. I'm out. Bye. And she just pieces out.
Yeah, that I thought sucked. That I was kind of like, okay, well, I feel like now you're a little bit less of a like, and it seems like they're starting to just pivot into okay, her unnamed master is just the bad guy of this series.
Yeah, which we knew that would happen. I wanted them to play it out more.
A little bit, yeah.
I wanted her to at least like kill the Wookiee master before moving on.
I mean, I like the idea of her kind of getting framed a little bit, and like, or not framed, but like them showing up, her showing up not wanting to do it, and then him just being dead anyway. Like I like that scene.
Which I mean, if anyone with even a skill point in investigation were to look at that, they would figure out it wasn't her because he has a lightsaber slash across his chest, and May doesn't have a lightsaber. Like, even she could have taken Indara's when she killed her in the first episode and chose not to.
I mean, it's also... He then immediately shows up and is trying to 1v8 Jedi. And so at that point, I feel like nobody's going to be like... If they turn around in the next episode and they're like, I think she did it, then it's dumb.
Then it's super dumb. I will say, as soon as they all like showed up for the investigation into Kalnaka and May, and there was all these like weird new Jedi that I'd never seen before, I was like, oh, cool. So there's going to be a big fight, and you're all going to die, except for like the 3 named characters.
Maybe the one that looks like Plo Koon, so they can be like, oh, and he was there.
Oh, God, don't put ideas in Kathleen Kennedy's head. Don't let this happen. But no, I didn't like how they did it, but now that they're there, I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. Here's the thing, right? Like, the first 2 episodes, we were really on board with this show. I was very excited where it was going.
I was more, like, like I said, I think I said at the beginning of that one, it was like the most thumb in the middle show we've ever reviewed, because it was like, this has a potential to go somewhere. I feel like it needs to explain itself a little bit more. And then it did that, and I was like, "You're over-explaining."
Yeah.
And then this episode 4, there's a lot more I like in it. And then right when it's like, "Oh, I'm invested now. This is getting exciting," it ends.
Right. Which I mean, if you're the only people that affects, and the only reason it feels like a bummer to us right now is because we're watching in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyone else watching this show in the future is just going to binge the whole series in a weekend. Yeah. That's the way that you consume content in this day and age. So, like, I can sympathize a little and be like, all right, that's not a real problem. Even though we view it as such.
Sure.
But, like, I feel like the pacing of this show is crazy, right?
Yes.
Like, we go from, like, nothing happening to suddenly everything's happening for 10 minutes and then nothing's happening again.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I thought I was, like, crazy or something. I'm sitting here, like,
you
trying to...
You are.
Well, thank you.
You're right on this one thing.
I still can't bully you. It's Pride Month.
Mm-hmm.
Or so, thank you.
We're getting close to the end, though.
Yeah, so maybe you should stop
a little over
testing my good graces.
Or I should get all of it in now if I can.
That's what she said.
So what else did you think about this show?
I'm excited to see a fucking Jedi battle.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a lightsaber fight?
If they can do a cool version of,
And there's yellow ones in there.
there's yellow ones in there. We always
Now,
like.
we saw the bad guy's lightsaber very clearly this time.
Yes.
Is it red or is it like the reddish orange?
this-
like what's his name? From
Ahsoka. This is his name, I think.
Yep.
I don't remember his name.
But he had like a reddish.
I like him too. What's his name?
His was like red orange specifically because he wasn't a Sith necessarily, but he did lean dark side, so it wasn't like full red. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's Shin Hati is the girl.
Balin Scroll.
Balin Skull.
Wow.
You're right.
I had that. Look at me go.
Yeah, I knew his apprentice's name. I didn't know his name off the top of my head, even though I like him a lot.
I loved his character. It's such a shame the actor died. Because I would love to see more of him. And, I mean, hopefully we do. It just won't be, him.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I would love to have his lightsaber. Like, go down to Disney World and get that hilt, if I could. Next time I have $1,000 million to spend to go down to Disney World again on that once-in-a-lifetime trip.
Unfortunately, you can't do the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel anymore.
Oh, why? What happened?
It flew into space.
Oh, no!
Yeah, it was going to the next planet in the tour.
Oh, no! The space whales couldn't save it?
No.
Oh, no. The whales, they weren't available?
They're
Ezra
called,
Bridger couldn't save them?
They're called, and I do know their name. I do. I really do.
Star whales.
No, they have a name, and it's something. I do know it. But
Okay.
anyway.
Cool. Nice chat.
Porgles.
Porgles. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. You said it and you triggered a memory, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're
Fucking
called.
Porgles.
Or Purgles? Purgles.
Whatever. Enough about Purgles. Let's move on. So what can we expect from the rest of this show, do you think?
So
Are there 4 more episodes? It's 8, right?
I want to say it's 8, yeah.
Okay. So this is the halfway point? Is May turning over to the good guys?
I guess.
Well, I guess she hasn't been accepted yet. She just kind
Yeah.
of made the decision. You had the theory that the idiot that was helping her is the master.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. They're walking through the woods. She's getting tired. He's not, which kind of is revealed to be she's just trying to get rid of him for a second.
Yeah,
so
she's
maybe
faking.
Not. But he has a scene where he's like, what with that other Jedi? Like, what's his name again? Soul? Like, that seemed like it was kind of like leading to like playing the
dumb.
idiot. And then he leaves. She goes, yeah, I don't even think that he could get all the way out here. He comes back, and then, some order of events like that. And then she goes to see the Wookiee, and the Wookiee's dead already.
Mm-hmm.
So
after
like,
she leaves him alone in the woods with his ankle up in a snare trap.
right. And then after all of that, she's now alone because he doesn't follow him because he's trapped. So then the master shows up and starts fighting all the Jedi.
Yeah.
So like they're never in the same place at the same time. She asks at one point, like, have you ever seen his face? And he's like, oh, no, of course not. Like I feel like there's enough to. I don't think that we've seen them together in.
No, the only time we saw the master before was briefly when she like saw him on the edge of the
Yeah,
cliff
and
in the
he
first
wasn't
episode.
there with that, right?
No, she was alone. Well, I guess not alone. The master was there, but yeah. So that theory actually might hold water. When
I also just feel like there's not. Why hide his face? I mean, I guess we did have this happen in Ahsoka with whatever the fuck his name was. I don't remember at this point. But there was like an Inquisitor in that show, and Dee said it's obviously easily Ezra, and then he just dies in the next episode we did.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, so he's not.
Yeah, definitely not Ezra. Still, that might be cool. Ezra the Inquisitor. I'm down for that turn left universe.
I just can't see them having 2 useless mask guys who don't have names, and like why make a big deal of not being able to see his face if he's not somebody and there's not anybody else in the show yet.
I feel like Star Wars kind of shot itself in the foot early on by having the big bad guy have a helmet. Because it feels like everyone that's a big bad guy now has to have a full face covering helmet, which just means like, oh, they must be somebody.
Oh, they've been chasing the reveal for a long time.
Yeah, fucking 40, 50 years now, right?
I think Kylo was a pretty good one. but it's not Vader good.
No, nothing is Vader good.
No.
That's lightning in a bottle you can't catch again.
Is there another like good one?
No.
I feel like there's got to be something, but I
fucking Fallen Order did it with Trilla.
Yeah, but that wasn't like a reveal of like this is an other person that we knew already.
I mean, it was framed that way because when she takes the helmet off, Seer is there.
Yeah,
and she's like, Trilla, no, I'm so sorry, and we already knew about Trilla.
Sure.
So like, all Seer did was like put a name to the face, and then we were like, oh, it's you. Ah.
Yeah, no, it's a trope of somebody taking off a black mask and it being a big reveal. Like like that is a thing.
I mean, they're not obviously the first to do it, but certainly one of the biggest.
No, but it is officially embedded into being a Star Wars trope.
Yeah,
but it's just the first one was the best version of it.
Absolutely. So I feel like it has to be somebody, but like I hope it's kind of not. You know?
Yeah, I just feel like it will be somebody, and I feel like there's not enough characters it could be.
Do you think it's going to be like an out of left field reveal, like a fucking Darth Bane?
No, I don't think so.
Or a Plagius the Wise?
I really doubt it.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be one of those.
You think it's going to be our dipshit tour guide, man?
I think it will be him.
But you think he won't be Plagius the Wise secretly?
No, I think he'll be... Well, I think that they'll specifically do the thing that they've been doing with everybody and just go, he's not a Sith. Like, he's a different guy with a red lightsaber who uses the Force and the dark side and can fight Jedi. But he's not a Sith, which is what they do a lot, which is like, okay.
I don't see the difference.
Nobody ever has. Asajj Ventress, not a Sith. Kylo Ren, not a Sith. Snoke, not a Sith. These are all canon things. And it's never... Grand Inquisitor and all the Inquisitors are not Sith, even though they chase down Jedi, and Jedi are all afraid of them, and they kill them, and they fight them in lightsaber fights and use the Force. But it's just a whole thing. They go, oh, it can only be two, but also we really want to do scenes where there's guys with lightsabers and they fight.
I get it with the Inquisitors, kind of.
Yeah.
But, like, not really.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is they said before Darth Maul that we haven't seen Sith activity in hundreds of years, and this is 100 years before. So it is functionally a Sith, but they're going to say it's not, is what's going to happen.
I mean, the other side of that coin, though, is that Mace Windu had that conversation with Yoda in Phantom Menace, both of which famously on the Jedi Council. And in Episode 4, Ki-Adi-Mundi wants to bring this to the attention of the Council, to which one of the others shoots that down and says if we tell the Council, they will be obligated to tell the Senate, and that will make us seem like we're incompetent, and there'll be a scandal and this and that. A whole scandal will rock the town. We can't have that, no. Where the fuck were we, man? We're talking about Sith and...
Yeah, it's bullshit how they're just afraid to use the word Sith because they came up with the rule of two at one point, and too many people like it.
Rules.
They came up with so many rules, and then they went, oh, all of these make it really hard to make cool bad guys.
Yeah, because you wrote, like, which ones existed previously to Phantom Menace. You were like, oh, well, Darth Bane was here, and Plagius was here, and fucking, like, okay, cool. That's the hundreds of years between, like, here and there, so, like, I guess there's no more bad guys, unless you just let them make different bad guys.
Well, the other thing is, we should just maybe start having some bad guys that aren't Force-using red lightsaber guys.
I was going to say, fucking Thrawn is one of the best bad guys ever. Motherfucker's not Force-sensitive.
Everybody loves Cad Bane.
Everybody loves Cad Bane.
As a guy who's just sort of like a bounty hunter who can fight Jedi.
Speaking of bounty hunters, Boba Fett in the original trilogy.
Bobbert Fett.
Bobbert.
Is
Robert
his legal name.
Yeah, sure. But everyone fucking loved Boba Fett in the original trilogy, and fucking motherfucker had like 2 lines. But he was just a cool-looking bounty hunter guy in a suit of armor, and everyone was like, oh, bad guy. You look cool. Awesome.
Jabba the Hutt also counts. He's not really somebody who fights, but like he is a bad guy in Star Wars.
What if I told you Jabba the Hutt was supposed to be the big bad of the prequel series, and George Lucas just didn't have the balls to go through with it?
I don't even know what that would look like. That seems like such a weird.
It's I made that up. But
Okay,
it's
I was
based
about
on a
to
real
say.
theory I've heard that Jar Jar Binks
Sure,
was
I've heard
supposed to
that.
be the Sith Lord. Yeah. But that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know what a Jabba prequel series would have looked like. But you're making it up. You're lying to me. You hate me.
The Hutts would not make good Jedi.
No,
No. Absolutely not.
there's got to be one.
You imagine him just
guarantee
flipping
you.
around like Yoda.
I guarantee you, there's a comic book where one of them is.
Fan made for sure. Definitely nothing official.
I think there's a chance that it could have been EU.
No.
EU had a lot of stuff like that.
I don't think so, only because the Hutts are very big on gambling and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and all the gamblers in the galaxy seem to think like the Force is bullshit and fuck the Force and fuck the Jedi. It's kind of like part of their character, and we are super off topic now, but I don't feel like they would ever make a Hutt Jedi.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much bullshit in the EU stuff that it has to have happened.
You're gonna make me look it up, aren't you?
You don't have to. You can just not do it. I feel like you're looking it up now, and you're blaming it on me, is what's happening.
Oh, god damn it. God damn
You underestimate Star Wars' possibilities and how stupid they are on most things.
Oh my god, it gets worse.
What's the name?
Beldorian.
Okay.
Beldorian was a Force-sensitive Hutt Dark Jedi who served as a Jedi Knight.
More like Dork Jedi. Got him.
Served as a Jedi Knight serving the Order and the Galactic Republic roughly 400 years before the founding of the Empire. After being sent to Nam Chorlos, he fell to the dark side and established himself as the ruler of the planet, forsaking the Jedi. He was killed in a lightsaber duel in 13 ABY by Leia Organa Solo.
Oh, so it is EU stuff.
It's so fucking stupid. Oh my god, the fucking picture of this guy. This can't be a real picture. How is this a fight, man? That looks like the biggest lump of meat holding a little purple lightsaber.
That is very stupid looking.
And Leia's like struggling with her yellow one. Like, bitch, come on, just fucking jump over him. He's not that dexterous.
I also like the
Dexterous.
I also like the idea of them being like, yeah, Leia just goes around just fucking killing every Hutt in the galaxy, I guess.
Also, yeah, fucking go for it. Oh my god. Who made this shit? Also, she in this other picture, she's dueling him while leaning against his tail. Just turn around and cut his fucking tail off. You want to kill the guy? Cut his fucking tail off. I feel like it's not that hard.
You should start reading a bunch of the EU stuff. Your faith would get fucking squashed in Star Wars. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, and there's reasons.
I read a book when I was a kid about this fucking Imperial officer that had Vader's glove, and he tried to remake the Empire. But instead of being able to force choke people, he put this like device in the fingertips that he would press when he like extended his fingers, and it would like emit a sonic like sound that would just like melt somebody's brain that he was looking at.
Okay.
And I was like, that's not how sonic waves work, first of all. Second of all, nothing would shield you from that. They go
No, he's pointing his hand that way, Jeff. You don't understand.
That's not how sound waves work, my guy. That's not how anything works in the electromagnetic spectrum. But sure. Yeah, fine. Go for it.
Yeah, like I said, there is cool stuff, and there's reasons that people were upset when they were like, all EU stuff is not canon, and then have slowly trickled on the stuff that people have liked, except for Revan. Revan hasn't made it yet. But
Darth Revan isn't real yet?
not yet. They keep trying to kind of squeeze him in there, and he keeps kind of getting gatekept at the last second.
Oh.
But he will make the jump eventually. But I remember them kind of decanonizing the EU and everybody being really mad, and me being kind of like, no, I mean I get it. Like, you kind of have to understand this shit's fucking dumb. Also, it was like in the early 2000s they started making every Jedi Goku. That's where like Star Killer came in, where you're like, this guy can't exist. This guy physically cannot exist. we cannot have this universe and have this guy here.
Absolutely not. Yeah, you're right. And I
like that game. The first one, not the second one. Second one sucks.
Planet of Twilight, published in 97. Oh my god. I'm just reading more and more about this stupid fucking Hutt Jedi guy. He's in a book. That's it. He's in a book and he gets murdered by Leia, like straight away.
Okay. That's cool. Well, he's now my new favorite Star Wars character.
That's it for this episode of the TB&J podcast. I think that Soul is going to die in this duel trying to save the girls. They're going to run off with Yord and Jecki, and they're going to have to hunt down this dude with, the rest of the Order or something or whatever. They might have to do it by themselves through the power of friendship or some bullshit. Either way, I'm not going to feel fulfilled when this story is over. I feel like I'm definitely not going to enjoy it when it's done.
I just want the lightsaber fight to be cool. I wanted to see one that was cool today, and
honestly, Star Wars is slowly. I hate saying this out loud. It's becoming the sci-fi Fast and Furious for me, where it's like I can almost not pay attention as long as there's like lightsaber fights and blaster battles. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's there. I'm not saying that's what it is.
It's not that for me.
I'm saying I feel like it's slowly turning into that. Because, most of the stuff that we've watched recently for Star Wars, I don't remember much outside of, the fights.
Okay.
And I feel like that's all that really stood out.
I highly suggest to anybody feeling down on Star Wars, watch the animated stuff. It is
I really thought you were about to do Andor. That's why I rolled my eyes.
No. The animated stuff. I would recommend Andor to anybody who's not you.
Again, we are team fuck Cassie and Andor on this show.
I'm not on that team.
That is the show's stance. D agreed with me.
He liked Andor.
D agreed with me, but only because he meant literally fuck.
Oh,
Cassie
sure,
and
Diego Luna, sure. Yeah.
He meant he wants to fuck Diego Luna, and I meant fuck him, as in, get out of here.
Absolutely.
You're asexual and you want to fuck Diego Luna.
Yeah, it's Pride Month, why not?
All right, we're done. This has dragged on too much. Please like and subscribe and do all the things, and may the Force be with you or something.
That was accidental. That wasn't on purpose. That was an accident.
I hit the wrong button.
What are the chances? You hit that button every single week for over 100 weeks straight. How did you do that?
Who's the idiot who put the sound, the theme song buttons at the top?
You did it. You did this.
Oh, yeah, right.
Nobody's to blame but you.
They're at the top, and I tried to stretch to hit them, and I hit the one right under that instead, which is the sad trombone.
What? That's the perfect way to end this podcast. You should just start doing that every week.